Welcome to the Blocks Maya overview. My name is Jonathan Abbenheim, and in this video I'll be covering everything you need to know about the blocks so that you can start creating super fun animations. The blocks are designed to feel light, minimalistic, and within minutes you'll have mastered not just one rig but 12 rigs, since all 12 of the blocks use the exact same rig setup, which makes going from one rig to another super easy and fun. In this overview I'll be using the Jordan rig to demo all of the blocks' key features, and in the customization chapter, which you will not want to miss, I'm going to be transforming Jordan into a robot in real time to show you just how easy it is and how much fun you can have customizing these rigs. This video is split up into multiple chapters. You can find all the topics I'll be covering right below in the description box of this video. And with that said, let's begin the Blocks Maya overview by starting things off with the installation chapter. All right, so you're ready to open up the blocks and start animating, but before you try and do that, you'll need to install the Contour Rig tools first. Otherwise, if you try and open it up without the Contour Rig tools installed, your rig will appear broken just as you're seeing right now. So first thing you need to do is head on over to notionalpipe.com. Click on the Get Contour link in the top menu. It will take you to the download page. Select the download rig tools. You got 3 links available depending on your OS. So I'm on a Windows system. I'd click on the Windows link and it will automatically download a zip file. Open it up, run the executable, and then choose your install folder. It's that simple. Once installed, under the rigging mode, you'll see a Contour Rig tools appearing in the top menu, which means you can open up the file and start animating. So let me open up a Jordan file just to show you, and there you go. Everything opens up nicely and I can jump right in and start animating. Next is an optional tool. You don't have to have it installed in order to run the blocks, but definitely a fun tool to use if you enjoy animating with a picker. It's called MG Picker Studio. It's a free download as well, so head on over to mgland.com, select the download tab, and download the file to install the plugin. Once installed, you'll have 2 icons appear. You'll want to click on the red icon to launch the picker. Now, if you don't see the picker appear, go to your outliner and select the word picker, then press the find/load icon and it will load the picker. It's a really fun and simple picker to use, and best of all, this picker uses the exact same setup for all 12 of the blocks. Let's talk about the different space options you have available for the head, arm, and legs. We'll start with the head. If I select my head controller, up in the channel box, space, I got 3 options available: chest, upper body, and base. If I select the shoulder controller, it's not here. You want to select the arm controller where you'll see the space options available. So here too, chest, upper body, and base. I'll switch over to IK mode. And here, if I select the hand, space, I got 3 other options again: chest, upper body, and base. And if we select the elbow pull vector, you get the same 3 options: chest, upper body, and base. Let's look at our legs. So again, don't select these controllers, the ankle and toe controller. You have to select the actual foot controller to see the options available. Here you have your pelvis, upper body, and base. And if I select the knee pull vector and I select my space, I got 4 options: leg, pelvis, upper body, and base. And that covers the different space options you have available for the blocks. All right, let's take a look at our settings for the IK arms and the IK legs. And we'll start off with the arms. I'll select my hand. And over in the channel box, we got translate and rotate, which I'm pretty sure you understand. Just in case, if I select it and I move, that's what happens. So we'll skip over those. First bone stretch and second bone stretch, I'm also going to skip over those. That's going to be covered in the customization chapter. So this brings us to auto stretch, which is essentially your squash and stretch on and off. So if I grab my arm, I have squash and stretch active. And if I turn it off to 0, you'll see that it turns off. So we'll keep it back on. I'll turn to the side and just bring my arm back so that we can see this angle right here to demo the next feature, which is the smooth stretch. So the smooth stretch is essentially your elbow pops. To completely remove them, if I crank it up, max value is 4.0. There is definitely no more elbow pops, but just know that you can get a really nice result with a very low value, like a 0.3. I find gives a very, very nice result, even around 0.3, 0.4. Depending on the look you want to go with. So just note that a low value gives you something really nice. The next feature is actually used for the roll bones, but since we don't got any roll bones on this character, I thought I'd keep it anyways because you can have fun with it. So if you select it and you twist, it basically affects the whole arm. So if ever you have any use for it, maybe someone out there might use it. Maybe I will use it in an upcoming video. Who knows? So if I select my arm, and yeah, it works when the arm is completely squashed and stretched. And yeah, it's just a fun thing to have. I said, why not have it? Just in case we need to twist the arm. So the last feature is the space switching. And we got 3 different options: chest, upper body, and base. And this brings us to the back side of the arm. This is the pull vector right over here. And we got the same 3 space options right here: chest, upper body, and base. So let's go down to the leg. And if we select start off with the well, the ankle is pretty straightforward, and the toe right over here. And if I select my foot, this is where the options are for the leg. And translate, rotate, all that good stuff. And first bone stretch, second bone stretch, the same exact as the arm. We're going to skip those. It'll be covered in the customization chapter. Auto stretch, again, is for your squash and stretch. So squash and stretch on, off, on, off. I'm going to hit undo a couple times. The smooth stretch is your knee pops. So if I crank this up, you'll see that you'll get a little bit of a buffer around the knee area, giving you a invisible, no, actually, it just completely removes the knee pop. So very, very useful, especially for walks. And the twist does the exact same thing as the arm, except for the leg. So I thought I'd keep it for the leg as well. Might as well. If we have it for the arm, gotta have it for the leg. Next, we got our space switching right here: pelvis, upper body, and base. And the last option is the foot roll. So you click and you middle mouse drag and you get a foot roll. So to get the foot roll forward, max value is 4, and the reverse would be -3, but you can play around with it and you'll get a very cool foot roll. This is inspired off of the real mechanics of a foot. So just so you know why we have it set up this way. I thought it was very minimalistic, very clean. Foot rolls are very sensitive areas. When you have too many controllers on the foot and you start messing with one and then countering with the other, it gets very confusing. So we opted for a simplified foot roll approach this way, and I think it's going to work out really well. So let me know what you think, and that covers the foot controller. We'll head up to the knee. This is your knee swivel, your pull vector. And here you have not just 3, you got 4 space options. You got leg, pelvis, upper body, and base. And that covers the IK options for the arms and the legs. Let's take a look at the torso and tweaker controls, and I'm going to select my torso controller to start us off. And this controller is really an FK and IK hybrid controller, 2-in-1. So this type of control gives you a lot of freedom when animating. Now, the tweaker control is right below. It's also called the mid-spine, and this controller is used when you want to adjust the lower half of the rig. So in translate mode, I can move my controller however fits best with my animation to adjust the look of the lower half. Just gives you a little more extra control on the lower half of the body. Now I'll select the tweaker control, and up in the channel box you got 2 options: the twist. So if I select it and I middle mouse drag, I can twist my lower spine this way, or I can turn on use transform twist right here, and I can manually adjust my rotation. So based on what I got, I could just rotate it manually. And that is how the torso and tweaker controllers work. Let's take a look at the 5 different controls that will allow you to squash and stretch the blocks. First one is the head controller. You can squash and stretch there. Second one is the torso controller. Third one is the hip/pelvis controller. Fourth one is the hand controller in IK mode, will squash and stretch. And the 5th one is the leg controller in IK mode, of course, will squash and stretch. So you get the head, the torso, the hip/pelvis, arms, and legs in IK mode will squash and stretch. The Maya version of the blocks comes with a very special added bonus, and that is the Anim Picker. So let's load it up right here. It is called the MG Picker Studio. This is a wonderful free little tool that you can download, as mentioned in the installation chapter. Of course, support the developer if you can. That's always very important. Now, this is an optional tool to animate the blocks. You don't have to have it, but just note that it's already built into the actual file. So you see it here under Picker in the outliner. And if you have the tool installed, you click on your little icon. Let's pretend you got nothing selected. You have to select the picker right here in the outliner and press the icon right here, find and load, and it will load up the picker. Now, all 12 of the blocks use the exact same setup, making it super easy to remember. Blue stands for FK controllers, red is IK, PV is pole vector, IK is IK, and it's pretty straightforward. So you just click and you can select your controllers by simply going through it. You can shift drag. If I hold Alt and click, it will select the mirror joint. That's also really fun. And if I want to shift drag on the fingers, this is super easy for the fingers. You couldn't get easier any easier than that. So there you have it. Just remember that when you are in FK, IK won't be available. So if I try to move my IK, I got to switch over to the IK mode by switching over, and then IK becomes available, and the same goes for the legs. So there you have it. That is the picker for the blocks. It is super simple and super easy to use, just like the rigs are super simple and easy to use. All right, hope you enjoyed it. All right, let us customize some controllers, and I'm gonna show you how to do it on the head, the shoulder, and the arms. And you're gonna see it is very, very easy to do. So the first thing I always do is I go up top and I turn off surface objects right here so I don't accidentally select any geo. I'm gonna go into wireframe mode, select my head controller, right click, control vertex, and no vertices are visible because I need to turn them on. So click on show. NURBS CVs on, and now I can select them. I'm going to jump into my front view, which is how I like to work, front and side view. And here I could already just use the move tool and reposition this way, but I prefer to snap to grid. So I'm going to turn this on, and now I can snap to my grid. I'm going to add more subdivisions by right clicking here, grid options, and subdivisions 15 sounds good. I'll hit apply, close, and now I got more grid to snap to. A lot easier. I could always do it manually, which is just as fast. And if I select and I reposition this way in the front view, go to my side view and just select and reposition this way. And in a few clicks and drags, we got a new head controller repositioned, and it was that quick. So let's do these shoulders, and I'll jump into my front view. Right click again, control vertex, select it, and I'm gonna double click on my rotate tool. I want to show you that I have an option turned on here called step snap, which is set to relative with a 3.0 value. By default, you probably have it set to off so that when you rotate, it is nice and smooth, but I want to have it rotating incrementally so I get a nice straight line. So I'm going to have it set to relative with a 3.0. This way, when I rotate, I get a nice straight line. I can select and manually position like I did before. Same with the head. Side view, grab and move. Snap to grid is wonderful. And that is one side of the character. I'll select the other arm, jump into my front view. Now I don't need to select and rotate. I could just literally just eye this out because it is pretty much identical. And if you're not sure, you can just drag to the other side, align it, and just drag back and do it that way too. Now in side view, you'll notice that the grid is overlapping the actual controller. And all you got to do is just turn off the grid and you can just snap. The snap feature is still active, so you can still see where the blue is, and you just match it up this way. And that is how you do both shoulders, and that was pretty quick. And now I'll show you how to do the arms. I'll stay in perspective mode, go into wireframe, and here I will select my controller, right click, control vertex again, select, and this time I'm going to double click the scale tool and have the same feature here, step snap. I have it set to relative 1.0. This way I can count how many times I scale up and I can see it. As opposed to by default, if I scale this way, I won't be able to get the exact value. So let's keep it to relative. 0.1 works well. This way I can count how many times I scale up. So 1, 2, select the other arm, and let's go 1, 2, right view. Make sure everything lines up. You can see it is lining up. That's perfect. And I can go to the elbows, do the same thing, 1, 2. I am in local mode, by the way. So when I scale, I'm in local object mode. And that's it, 1, 2. And I go into my side view, make sure everything's lined up. It's perfect. And that is how you customize your controllers on the blocks. It is very, very easy. customization. And this is where you're going to have a lot of fun, I guarantee. Now, the blocks design lends itself really, really well to customization, giving you the opportunity to easily change the look of your character to give your blocks super fun and unique styles, all while keeping the rig fully intact and ready to animate. Now, all of the geometry on these characters is editable, which gives you tons of creative freedom to customize these characters. So, these examples that you're seeing were done using 3 default Maya tools: the Move tool, the Scale tool, and the Edge tool. So no previous modeling experience is needed because you already know how to use these tools. It is that easy. So I was able to create these variations very quickly. And now to show you just how quick, I'm going to customize a Jordan default rig in real time so that you can see how easy it is and how fast it is to change the look of your character. All right, so let's have a little fun. We're going to transform Jordan into a robot, and to do this, I'm going to start by unlocking the head and arms. So I'll select the neck controller. Up in the channel box, select the translates, right-click and choose Unlock Selected. I'll select both shoulder controllers and do the same thing. Right-click, Unlock Selected. Now I'm going to turn on my Snap to Grid, making it a lot easier for me to reposition both my arms and head and keep the same symmetry on both sides. Now with the chest selected, I'm going to scale it up just like this. Get some weight on the chest. We'll make the shoulders a bit bigger as well. Next, we'll grab our head and thin it out. Now, I don't know why, but a thin head feels more robot-like. Move it forward just for a cooler look. And we're going to thin out the biceps. Not too thin, but thin enough so that we get some contrast between the biceps and the forearms. I like nice big forearms, kind of Mega Man style. I don't know if you've played Mega Man, but it is a classic. As a kid, I used to play that all the time. So, of course, this robot is inspired by all the robots I played with as a kid. So, I guess I'm kind of recreating that subconsciously. So, thin quads, and let's go heavy on the lower half. So, nice and thick, and we'll grab the toes and make these just a little bit wider for fun. And there you have it. We took the Jordan rig and we transformed it into a robot in less than 2 minutes. Now, the big question we need to answer is, does the rig stay fully intact and ready to animate, as I stated moments ago? So the only way to find out is to jump right back into the scene and test it out. So let's do that. All right, moment of truth. Does the rig stay fully intact? And spoiler alert, I wouldn't be recording this video if it didn't. So let's also load the MG picker, which also stays fully functional with the rig. So that's an added bonus as well. So let's start off with the squash and stretch on the key areas. Head, let's go torso, let's go hips. Everything works nicely as mentioned. Let's switch the arm to IK. And of course, the default position is closer to the body, so you'd have to just readjust the position when you switch from FK to IK, depending on the proportions of your character. IK, squash and stretch, fully functional. And while we're here, let's also test out the different space. So it's currently set to base. If I change it to chest and I change the elbow to chest, technically, if I turn my torso, it will follow. Oh, there you go. And while we're here, let's change the head space from upper body to chest. And let's switch this one from upper body to chest. And now everything follows very nicely. All right, what else? Let's switch back to FK mode. Now in the shoulder areas, just one thing to mention. You get obviously the rotations that you need, but the X rotation does not affect the arm. That is intentional by design. And the X rotation is used for just, sculpting a better pose to get a better silhouette, for example. So adjust it based on your animation performance. But just note that the X does not affect the arms, and that is intentional by design. Next up, let's go to the arms using the picker, which is really, really fun because you can Alt select both sides at the same time. Everything works wonderfully. Let's go through a few others. Let's Alt select the fingers. This works nice. Let's Alt select these. Looking good. Now let's grab both the IK leg controllers. Works nice. Let's do the toes. And I hope I convinced you by now that the rig stays fully intact. And this is a lot of fun. So rotation on the torso, of course, works. The tweaker control works nicely up in the setting if I want to use the twist. Everything works exactly as it did with the original rig. And let's just switch over from IK to FK and test that out. And let's grab this leg. Let's grab it from the picker. And yep, looks good. Let's grab the lower half. That looks good. Let's grab the feet. Looking good. Let's grab the toes. That works. And one last thing is I'll show you the space switching on the leg. So space switcher on the leg control is currently set to base. If I set it to, let's say, upper body, and I turn my upper body controller. Now, let me just pin the other leg so that you can see it. So if I turn my upper body, you'll notice the leg turns, and you could also set the space on the knee to upper body. And now the leg will follow wherever my upper body is facing. So all space switchers work. Everything works exactly as it did with the original rig. So really, really cool. Now, just for fun, let's switch back to the original Jordan rig, and you'll see in just a few clicks we can go back to the default. I'm just going to hide my controllers. I'm going to select my geo, turn back my surface object, select my geo, set the scale to 1. Let's go back, activate the controllers. Let's go into front view, and I'm going to hit wireframe mode, select my arm, shoulder controller, which controls the arm position. And we're just going to zero these out. And in just a few clicks, you are back to the original Jordan rig. Nothing's changed, fully functional. It's pretty cool. And just as an added bonus, let's hide the curves, select everything, press 3, and now you get another transformation in just seconds. And this too stays completely intact. Nothing is affected. And that is the Sphere Man. So let's go back, and that is how you, with the keyboard, by the way, just hit 1 to go back to the original Jordan rig. And that is it. That's the transformation. The rig stays fully intact. Nothing is broken. This concludes the overview for the Maya version of the blocks. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at watchmeanimate@gmail.com or drop a comment below with your question. Thanks again for watching and supporting me by purchasing the blocks. I hope you have a lot of fun animating them, and definitely tag me on your social media if you have a cool animation to share. I'd love to see what you come up with. And on that, stay tuned for more upcoming content featuring the blocks, body mechanic rigs made simple and fun.